Oh my God. There is a giant sea of overbid auctions, and then the ones that are still 20, 30 minutes away, those are still in the lows, but it's just the wave, it's just moving forward. It doesn't get better.
So what do you think they're seeing since they're overbidding? What do you think they're seeing that we're not?
I don't think they're seeing anything. I just
I
think
think
that the
more
people
people
are overbidding because they don't count with the current prices. They just don't value the Hedron as much.
Yeah, and more people are losing bids than winning right now. So they've already bid on those, so now they're just moving to the next ones, and they're just throwing their capital into them to try to win now. As the timers get lower and lower, they keep bidding, and then when they don't win, they just move to the next ones down. So it's just a pile up of people that have all this bidding hedron that they're going to keep bidding on all of them. So like what Das said, the wall just moves forward. The wall of people with their money moves forward to the next set as the timers go down until they go.
But that's okay. Let them use their energy.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll go to sleep eventually, and that type of activity will die down like I saw last night. And we didn't even get through the 2,600 in a 24-hour period anyway. So there was another 1,300 of them dumped in now on top of what we already went through, which is only about what we're currently bidding on now. So yeah, we got a backlog of maybe another of about 3 days, 3-day backlog based off of what we're currently going through right now.
Yeah, but presumably someone like the poly executor, whatever you call it, has is a little bit less emotional and is not going to FOMO in unnecessarily, right? One would expect that. So
Sorry.
what is it that they see that we don't, or he sees that we don't?
We don't have a mole. We don't have an executor in here chatting with us.
He
Well, I think one of the things too is with Poly, there is no other option for it to, just do a traditional stake and add it to the pool. So Poly, they're trying to win as many as they can. I mean, granted, this can go on for a very long time because, as we know, it'll stay active as long as there's not 30 days of no bidding. So Poly could be around for several months, possibly, if not longer.
until they run out of hedron, like everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're telling me they're going basically on a volume, right? Like volume of stakes.
Yeah, for now it seems like they're going for the bigger ones, which is good. I mean, that's a benevolent type of thing for them to do. But when they're done with those, what are they going to do, right? Do they just stop bidding? Are they satisfied with what they have, or do they start going for the smaller ones that are currently not, going for an outrageous premium? At least there's a few that are squeaking by that aren't crazy, but for the most part, the community is bidding too. So it was kind of an interesting thing. Like when you start the auction in the first place for the 24-hour counter, you have to do that indexing. So if everybody has to do this indexing, then there's a certain period of time of like waiting that you have to do to be able to get the 24-hour period started. So there is going to be like a few seconds between them anyway, no matter what you do through each one. But when it comes to the bidding side, you don't have that indexing thing. So we should be able to process these things a little bit faster than getting them started. But that all depends on the actual bidding wars that are happening and causing these extra 5-minute counters to happen. So it'll be interesting, like the next 3 months, honestly, what happens with all these auctions. That's how it's going to happen. But there's going to be it looks to me like there's a lot of people that are burning a lot of hedron right now, way more than they need to, considering all the other auctions that are available to them further on. But let these people burn through their what they currently have and be happy with the decisions that they made, which is great to see. Like as a community, how much is activities happening, and in a couple of days we'll make a new assessment of what's going on. It'd be amazing that 72 hours in that you still have auctions going for premium, 100% premium price or more. It'd be crazy.
May I ask a question? If when you send a HSI back to the Icosa contract and say that it has a multiplier on it, do you get that percentage? Like if it's a 15-year stake, you get.
Yeah, you get 10% bonus to your Icosa yield that you get. Yeah.
And then what if a multiplier on it?
If it's got a 10x on it, then you'll get a 10% bonus with it. If it's got a 9%, it's a 9%, 8%, so on and so forth until none. So maximum, If it was a 555 with a 10x bonus on it, you can get 20% bonus to your Icosa yield to the buyback.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bonus from what I understand. So it's a 11x in total.
Yeah, and since it's the only bonus that's now in the protocol, it does like incentivize the watts of people probably more with that buyback function, because they're the ones that actually get the reward in that pool of community for the bonuses that gets mint. Excuse me, that gets minted to them.
I thought we're not getting bonuses anymore.
You
Is
don't
that
get
what
bonus. You don't get bonuses for staking at the end of your term, but you do get the bonus for a 5-5-5-5 turn into the buyback. You get, like I just said, 10%. And if it has a 10x multiplier on it, you can get up to another 10% for that same one, up to a total value of up to 20% bonus to your Icosa yield. And that is a bonus of minted supply of Icosa. Therefore, the Watsa pool gets that bonus minted to them as well.
Yeah,
So
it's just
the
a
buyback,
yield. It's a yield bonus.
yeah, when the buyback is used and it has any of those extra added bonuses on there, they are the pool that will get minted a duplicate copy of those bonus percentages to the pools.
Ain't nobody got no time to play those games. That reminds. It's like it's too much clicking and too much time lost. Unfortunately, makes me
For what?
feel the same as I felt with Zen. It's like it's a waste of time to do this too much.
To do what exactly? What part?
Like the time spent on clicking and finding them.
The
Like
spreadsheets.
you have to
Gotcha.
yeah you have to go through all the list, then find it, then click on it to bid, then get out bid, then click again, double check. You have to do this for multiple days. Then you have to do the conversions once you won it. It's like it's too much busy work. For me personally, I understand that some people like it and I understand the appeal, but for me it's like nah, fuck it, I'm out.
Does the yield payout from the burned Hedron from the auctions, does that get paid out instantly or does that get paid out at the end of the day?
End of the day.
Next day.
Thank you.
I think we burned like 355 billion or something.
So if everybody sees that's coming, then they're gonna want to stake, and so then it is correct that there'll be probably less competition in the future, right? Because people are gonna see that yield and stake, and then they're not gonna be able to compete with the Hedron, right?
That's a big fat maybe.
Looks like 378 billion have been burned so far, but I think some people have been minting it as well. So it's at least 378, probably more.
Yeah. What do you think?
Where are you checking that? Through Bloxy? Where are you checking that?
Etherscan max total supply. It started at 113,280, right around 650, 7 o'clock.
Thanks.
It'll be interesting to see as well if, obviously, in theory, with increased Icosa yield comes more demand for staking Icosa and Hedron because of that yield. So then if there's increased demand and it makes sense to use the buyback function, if it's cost effective, then there's going to be more use of both the buyback function and staking, which then kicks an auction out 90 days into the future, which then increases yield, which further increases demand for staking. And it'll be interesting to see now going forward if all of these things play out. We have this perpetual system.
Why
I
is
saw
it that
Maximus guys saying that the 90-day stakers from Hedron pool, they unstaked and then got poly instead. So I guess they're not going to be restaking it because they already created a poly stake. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, the potential's there. The minting of the poly thing ends today, right? Or did it already end? Did it end at 000 UTC?
They said that it ends on the 14th, 0 UTC. So
it's one more day.
Yeah, I guess it's one more day. So you can still, mint poly.
Yeah, go get it. Go get it, guys. Go take your Hedron out of the staking pool and go get you some poly. Go get it.
Why is it that in Hex, you need to be staked before, the day ticks over to get the yield the next day? But in this system, you can stake the same day and then get the yield. Why is there a difference there?
You still have to stake the day before here. It's just here, when you enter the next day, you get your yield straight away. But with Hex, the first day counts as day 0. So that's the only difference. So in both systems, the day you make the stake is pending. But in Hex, once it rolls over, it starts at day 0. Here, it starts at day 1.
I don't really get that. Can you explain that further?
So like with Hex, you make a stake today as pending, and then tomorrow it becomes active, but it's day 0. And then you have to serve that day 0 to have then go to the next day on day 1 of the stake, and you've now served 1 day, and you can get paid for 1 day served. Here, you make a stake today, it's pending, just like with Hex. But then when the day ticks over to tomorrow, you're on day 1 of the stake, and you can get paid out immediately for that day. It's like you don't have to serve the whole day, you just have to enter the day, so to speak.
So do you think that's just a flaw with Hex, or what do you think? Why would it be created that way?
No, it's just with Hex, it's just making you serve a full 24 hours. So it's just starting the day on day 0, making you serve a full 24 hours before being paid for the previous 24 hours. Here, it's just saying you're getting paid for today because you're in the pool today.
It's a difference in philosophy, not a flaw and not a premium.
And like
The
in either
people who
system,
programmed and who chose the system, they just have different metrics in mind. And when you code it, you can do it as you want it. In Icosa or Hedron, it was chosen to be this way, and in Hex, it was also chosen to be this way as it is.
and in Hex, you can stake for 1 day, right? Like these set stake lengths. So you could stake for 1 day. Then once you've served that 1 day, you could end your stake with your 1 day's yield. Here, you're locked up for at least 30 days. So there's, if you end after the first day, you're going to get a big penalty regardless of the size of your stake. So that also factors in the fact that there's no, set stake length over here, I guess. There's no really need to have a day 0. Whereas with Hex, it kind of is.
I think there's
Interesting.
benefits to
An
both.
interesting.
I think with Hex, when you make your stake, it's pending, right? So there are some people that make a stake and they're like, oh shit, no, I don't want to do that, and you can cancel it before it ticks over in UTC time. With Hedron and Icosa, once you hit unstaking, you're locked into your terms that you promised. So
I mean that here too.
Yeah, that's not true. You can do the same thing with Icosa protocol as long as it's before 000 UTC and you've gotten the actual yield for that day. Then you can end it with no penalty.
Wait, so again, you can get the yield in before.
Just like when you goes into pending and you can end it on a Hex stake, as long as it's before 000 UTC and it isn't in pending status, you can end it, right? Same thing goes with Icosa. The Icosa protocol.
The reason it does what it does is because you can do a 1-day stake. So you can, with Hex, if they didn't have the whole pending day that you had to do, you could make a stake and then like right before UTC day change and then get yield immediately after. You just end the stake after 5 seconds because the day changed in the middle of the stake. In Icosa, we don't have the forced pending because you can't do a 1-day stake.
I see. Thanks. Yeah, that makes sense.
You figured out how to get Alex out of his rabbit hole. Just start talking about the Hex code since he's an absolute professional when it comes to that. Just fuck it up a little bit. He'll come out and correct, and then you guys can nab him up because he's paying attention to the chat.
Yeah, that was my real intention with the question, is just to get Alex back in. It was a trap.
Brilliant.
So since you're here, Alex, if you have 10 billion Hedron to stake, is it paid the same as if you did 10 separate stakes and 10 separate wallets at 1 billion each? Or now that that bonus is gone, it doesn't really matter?
All right, can you repeat the question?
Doing one large Hedron stake at 10 billion versus doing 10 separate 1 billion stakes. Is it virtually the same thing? It's just your position is more likely to, I guess, if you have a larger one, you're less likely to get pushed out of the way as much, or it doesn't really matter. It's just size of the pool.
If they're all done at the exact same time, it doesn't matter. Now, what will matter is the ability. Like, for example, the gigantic one will have a better share rate on its points forever. So it's getting a better deal on points. So the big one is better if you're going to add to your stake over time. If you're not going to do that, then it doesn't necessarily quite matter as much.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
Okay. So the only positive thing that I noticed is that the people the highest discount, or the people that at least got some kind of discount, were in the range from 25,000 hex to 250,000 hex.
The other thing to think about with these premium discount things is overall liquidity. Like there may not be enough liquidity in the system that someone could sell, for example, 25 billion Hedron. I find that unlikely, but there may be situations where you couldn't sell a certain amount of Hedron, then Hex into Hex, and then create a new stake. and do it 1-to-1. Like in this situation, there's no fees, there's no liquidity, all that stuff. Yeah.
Wasn't the one hacks to Hedron really big? Last time I checked, it was like millions and millions.
There was like, I think, a little over $1 million in the Hedron Hex pair.
PulseX, you might say you're about to get serenaded with the guitar song.
It's good to see the total supply go down. Just refreshing the screen. Max total supply.
How far have we gone down today?
Look at that. People doxing themselves. Full Nelson went against Poli. Quick. Grab his address.
I've counted 427 billion so far.
Holy shit.
And that's not including people that offsetting the people that have minted, because I've seen the supply increase a couple times in small amounts. So
Diggity damn. So we're looking at least twice that yield we got yesterday for tomorrow.
Yes, and we're only an
2 hours.
an hour and 35 minutes into the beginning of the next day. So the bidding and the auctions have been ending for that whole time. So the bidding has actually been happening previous to that. So maybe, yeah, you're right. Maybe 2 hours, 3 hours worth of bidding to get to this.
Happy New Year! Oh, wait, wrong. What?
436, by the way.
Yeah, there's 423 billion burned right now.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And we didn't even get through the first 2,600 of them in the first day. We only got through 1,400 of them, and then another 1,300 of them got piled on top of that. So we're currently behind the mark on getting the 24 hours started. So that's going to extend this out like a couple of extra days of all of this stuff that's happening right now. So it's pretty neat that if we keep this pace up and you're already at 400 and something billion, that you might get a few days of really high payout yield because of, well, can't speculate past what we already see, but that's pretty neat.
We have like a 500 T-share stake coming up soon.
Yeah.
Over 500
What's the percentage of burn so far from the total supply? Does anybody calculate?
It's 112 billion, and only about 400 billion has been burned. So there's your math.
So 0.5%, basically.
But if you do it this way and you don't consider the source addresses Hedron as part of circulating supply, then cut the 112 trillion in half at least, right? I don't know the exact numbers, and go with that, right? And then maybe even consider the OAs and the 5 trillion that the Godwhale has staked up as not available of circulating supply either. How about this? Figure out how much actual Hedron is completely staked right now, and don't consider that circulating supply. So maybe you're at somewhere around like 35 trillion of circulating supply, and then maybe around 2 trillion of it or less is actually in the DEXs. So that is circulating supply, but in a totally different way. So then figure out your numbers based off of, I don't know, 33 trillion supply, and we've burned 400 and whatever billion. What is that percent? That's more of more accurate than going with the actual total supply. We only give a shit about who has Hedron in their hands and is competing in the actual auctions.
You got like 1.5 trillion locked up in Poly too, I think, right?
Oh, there you go. So let's just do a good even round number of 30 trillion supply right now, possibly in the hands of us, the community members, to participate in these auctions, and then figure out the burned amount, because that could be impactful for future auctions on how much buy pressure may possibly be needed, even when you see crazy numbers like 112 trillion, when it's not true.
I'm showing 522 billion burned so far.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you for the hopium.
Yeah, just going back to Watts's real quick, guys. I'm just having a hard time. Would you say, like, maybe with losing these bonuses, would you say like 10, like, how would we know what we're going to lose with that?
Say that again. Sorry.
Is there a way we can see like an estimate of what we would like be losing with this bug that just was from yesterday for Watts?
Well, I mean, everyone was paid out more yield than any bonuses would have been applied to you anyway, for those first year, and the yield increased also because of another burn that was done.
From what to what,
I think it was increased 1.2%, so 20% on the yield daily.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, And then there was a burn that happened individually through the benevolence function that paid out the next day to everyone that was already staked in the Watson pool to kind of make up for it. And I think that was like a 25% bump for the day. So
Yeah, you're saying, yeah, okay, so the pool itself is getting more
yes,
a day. Yeah, okay.
yes, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Fair compensation.
100%.
Hey, Alex, I know it's been said before, probably multiple times, but I personally want to thank you for creating this because I'll tell you what, at the bottom of the bear market, this is so much fun to watch and so much fun to be a part of. And you are just kicking ass, man. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's crazy to watch.
So yeah, if you cut the circulating supply down to the actual supply of competition of what's burned of the like 500 billion of the 30 trillion, it's like a little over it's around 1.5%, almost 2% of the supply that people actually have in their hands right now that are, I guess, considered a risk. Liquid supply, circulating supply in the hands of people, not on the decks, not in the SAs.
What are you running in Bloxy to look at the burn amount? Are you?
No, I'm just doing math.
So, okay.
Yeah, just doing math. And then I guess 30% of the supply is staked for Hedron in the Hedron staking pool or something shit like that anyway. So, and that is over the total amount. So the 112 trillion, 30% of that, that's damn near 30%, less than 30%, something like that. So that's somewhere around close to 30 trillion anyway. So there may not be that much Hedron in people's hands if 30% of it's locked up, and only 30% of it, like I said, is actually circulating supply. I suppose the SA could be a part of that other group though, too, so it might skew the numbers. We know Godwale's a part of the other group too, so it does skew the numbers, but still not very much out there to burn, in my opinion, unless people unstake for competition's sake, or they go buy off a market, like I said, around the trillion that's available on market right now until there's none left. And price has been pushed so high in volatility that it would be ridiculous.
Okay, before I go to bed, the Poly has 1 trillion something, right? 1.5 trillion of Hedron. Can't they just pretty much buy all the auctions that exist with that much Hedron?
They got a pending 4 million hex share HSI. They're currently the bid leader for 40.1 billion Hedron in one shot. We've already burned over 560. This will put us over 6.
I feel like I don't know who said that question. I feel like you're buying into the idea that the market is 100% efficient, which is a complete fucking lie that they teach you in economics. If there isn't somebody watching these stakes for every day for 24 hours that can pay them, somebody's going to get a really good deal. And also, all it takes is one idiot to pay double for that stake to literally go for double what it should have.
Oh boy, you haven't seen nothing. There were people that were paying 10, 20, 60 times. Mix clicking, or I don't know what they did, but there was one guy 10x, and then what was the other guy? 65x the price, the current price.
Yeah, maybe he bid on the wrong hex because the wrong HSI because he saw like Alex was saying the index changes, so maybe he thought he was bidding on a different index.
Yeah, well, there's multiple of them. Almost all the auctions are around 120, 115% of the current value, and then there is a bunch every now and then 300, 500, 600%.
I mean, it does make sense that they go for a little bit of a premium because they don't have you never get that 2 share rate again. But yeah, I don't know, maybe somebody's actually interacting with the contract on Etherscan and they're screwing up. And
must be the latter because the premium is only 9%. The T-share rate changed 9% since the auction started.
But that 9% change in T-share rate could end up, doubling the value of the stake or something.
Are you guys considering the premium on, whatever multiplier for Hedron is on there too?
Don't know the answer to the question, but going back to the T-share rate, that's percentage though, right? You just need that much more percent hex.
It's compounded. So if you get, let's say your share rate is 9, so you have 10% higher T-share rate than me. That means every day you're getting 10% more T-shares. And that's Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a linear correlation or not, depending on.
I don't know, unless you can prove it to be otherwise. I'm thinking that you just buy the T-shares. You have a higher price for the T-shares, but the payout is the same after you already got the T-shares. Somebody who bought it 90 days ago, he paid a certain share rate, and everybody today has to pay 10% more for the same amount of T-shares.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that you're assuming that the market's super efficient, and it's not. But yeah, either he's doing something stupid or he knows something we don't. Either way, it's kind of like there's like kind of no point in talking about it.
Most people that are bidding right now are not good at math, in my opinion.
Well, I think that the worst for the poly executor, probably worst case scenario, is that they don't show an initiative to go for the big ones, and the big ones are obviously the ones that would pay the best anyway. So they're going to at least make an initiative to go for those. And with going for any of the smaller ones that'll come later, if it only showed that they have an initiative to just go after those ones for some reason because for competition's sake, then the narrative would change against them, and that would not be good. So I think that in the process of the narrative being that if they hold on to these big ones and it doesn't mint more Icosa to some single individual that could be reckless, is kind of a good thing for competition, especially for the bigger ones. But as soon as those bigger ones happen, as soon as the bigger ones are gone and they're done with, or they haven't come to a point where they're even worth bidding on yet, and there's just a bunch of little ones on there, then they've definitely made it available for you to be able to see exactly what's going on with the Poly Maximus thing in orange on the thing. It's the only thing that's different, and see what their intentions are while it's happening, and while the dynamics might change because the actual availability of what you can get in the marketplace has changed as well. So we'll just have to see what happens with that. And I think you're right. DOSBomb is 1.5 trillion. If there was zero competition, would probably easily be able to buy up the ones that are there. But that's not the case, right? There's a lot of competition. So that's where it gets messy to know what's going to happen and for how long. Like, it could seem like right now with the activity that's on there, you could project that for days it's going to be like this type of activity. But at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning tonight, my time, it might die off, right? It probably won't, in my opinion. It probably won't, because I know that the active auctions during that time last night, it did die off. It died off and it slowed down some. But the thing that makes that pertinent to pay attention to is, was everybody capable of keeping up with the amount of auctions that were being started with actually having the bids end the next day? So then you could know where the lulls actually are going to make any difference. But now we're backlogged, right? We didn't even get through the 2,600 in the first day. There were lulls. There was a good average at the beginning, but I think that the bidding is at least proving, as far as what the auctions made available for everybody at the bidding times, available for these high amounts of competition to happen. So the lull obviously may mean that certain bidders are not available because they're asleep, because they have to be responsible. It's Sunday night also, so maybe if they didn't take a week off, there might be less competition too. So we may actually see some better reports tomorrow when DOSBomb has gotten some sleep and updates his stuff, and then comes in and says, well, while I went to sleep, these are the fucking things that happened, and he's all pissed off, rightfully so. But we'll see.
I think that won't happen.
Me neither, because we're so backlogged. Yeah, like I said before, is that it's probably going to remain busy all the way to 2, 3, 4,
No,
5.
I mean, it won't happen because the data will be gone.
Oh,
I
right.
will not. I won't do shit.
I gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And I don't have a crystal ball to say that that's the case, but at least since I was up last night to see when all the chaos started and all the auctions started, see the relevant numbers and the averages that happened throughout the next 24-hour period. And then I took I slept when the numbers weren't relevant any longer to get at least the first 6 to 8 hours of how the 24-hour counters were going to come to an end. That was my purpose, to see how many auctions were going to be put in there. And then it was relevant to see how many that we got through per hour and how many were actually being cycled through at that time. And like I said, it seems like we're still on a backlog thing here. So I do see competition on the end timers probably remaining pretty significant, especially since we're only a couple hours in. So that makes sense. You don't need a crystal ball to probably give that explanation. That probably won't see anything die down for a while.
Okay.
On
I
that
brushed
note,
my teeth. It was fun, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you good hunting, good auctions if you're into that. I'm gonna share the sheet one more time. May it bring you luck. I will not update it anymore though, so you can copy it and copy paste yourself the data into it to get the current stuff. And as Alex said, he will remove all the lost auctions. That data will be gone as well, unless maybe if he somehow brings the data back in an extra tab or something, then maybe we can do some analysis on it. If somebody sees him around online. Oh, he's still here actually. Alex, if you hear me.
You know how to use APIs.
I'm very bad at it. I'm just fucking around here.
I
If
can
you
give you
send, can you get me maybe a CSV export or something, or can you tell me what API I can query?
put it in the API. Besides the GUI component, so you can build queries here too if you want.
Sorry, you're not coming through clearly.
I'm gonna paste that in chat. It's got a GUI thing to it, so you can kind of structure the query however you want.
Hedron
So
index.
you can pull all past and present. You can pull all past and present liquidations in one component. So it has all stakes back to the beginning term.
First ID, mental Hedron, head stakes, head mineral account. Okay, that would be my first time using it. I'll check out if I can find out how it works.
There's somebody, I don't know, somebody has an Excel plugin like that. You'll go find that.
Okay. Well, anyway, for tonight, it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope the sheet helps somebody. Good night, fellas. Good night.
See you, bro.
Night, buddy.
Night, that's fun.
So for anybody that maybe isn't like super good at math or just needs a little help, if you're wondering if the auction is the current price of an auction you're happening to look at is maybe worth it, if you take the current bid, divide it by the amount of staked hex, and that number is roughly over 11K, then you could consider it overvalued. And if it's under 11K, you could consider it undervalued. This is a very rough number to look at, and this is not including obviously the T-share rate that these things got in at or the multiplier. This is just a frame of reference to give you a ballpark idea of, kind of what the evaluation is. Because 1 hex equals roughly 11,000 Hedron currently.
Yeah, it looks like they're all bidding for like 5-10% of their value. But I mean, I guess they're not closing, but still, like, people are gonna get bored.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to start an auction, you might as well start at the lowest bid because you just never know if it's going to squeak by whenever.
If I started an auction now, like not even an Icosa buyback, if I just put an HSI on the market, do I get to choose what the reserve is?
If you go to a marketplace to go buy an HSI on market, you're probably going to have to pay whatever the person wants for it that's put it on market. And the marketplace that it's on probably only allows certain currencies on it. So it's probably ETH or USDC. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying okay, so all these auctions are selling for 10% over value. Can I just put one of my own on auction right now?
Yeah, you make your own price. If you go,
No, you can't. You can't put it into this auction. No, you'd have
You
to
have-
actually borrow from it. You'd have to wait 90 days for it to get liquidated.
I believe he's talking about putting it on OpenSea. Is that we're talking about creating an HSI and putting on OpenSea or Marketplace?
I mean, I guess I don't know if OpenSea is gonna pay a premium.
They
But that's a
the premium. You put the price on.
Yeah, exactly.
The price. And you also choose what currency that you want for it. When you know what I mean. So if I say that I want USDC for an HSI that I have on there, and it's only worth $1,000, right? And I say I want $5,000 USDC for it, and nobody comes obviously just buys it, but somebody can put in the comment section to me, like pretty much DM me on OpenSea and be like, well, what if I offer you $1,200 for it, right? And then since I know it's worth $1,000, then I might just bite and be like, sure, right? And then accept the bid. And at that time, he could be like, I'll give you $1,200 worth of ETH, right, on the bid. Like it's like a counter offer, right? Instead of what you want, they can send a counter offer, and then you can choose counter offers or just.
I've bought Watts's, but I'm just like thinking like I don't think that one on OpenSea is going to sell for 600% of its value like it is on.
Yeah, probably not. Like what they're going for on here. Yeah, you're right. This is the best marketplace ever. But it's for the community, right? It's the community's marketplace, valued by the community that also gets rewarded for participating in these auctions in the first place. So, I mean, it's a special type of marketplace, I guess, on top of it. It's not like
Holy shit.
What?
You just made me think of an idea to pitch to Alex. What about a Watsa marketplace, like a auction house just for Watsas? That could be interesting.
I mean, if Richard wants vertical integration, he probably needs an auction house or like a
Make it
something
cool,
similar
like
to OpenSea.
like the World of Warcraft auction house. You got to go in there, get your little, fucking click your little guy. Let's go deep.
I mean, this one exists already deep in its own special way because the auctions exist because the borrow function allow for the liquidations to make it net neutral again from the mistake that somebody had made, right, to correct itself. And then having this added functionality to be able to use that auction platform to be able to get into a staking platform in a different way adds a different type of dynamic to it where we can participate with those auctions again and be able to be rewarded from it in multiple ways, like the winners and the stakers, the winners that might even be staking, who knows, right? Maybe they take that into consideration too, right? They're like the yield of 500 billion already Hedron burned might have been like a consequence to their understanding of if they are staked in other protocols that they're going to make a significant amount of yield depending on how big they are. And that could have been an extra premium that they knew that they were going to get for that day. So they actually quantified that into their calculations when they were actually going to overbid on some of these things at a premium, right? Because they're going to be more bid, more burned, more yield in the other staking protocols that you're at, and happenstance to all the stuff that's going on too. I know it's not much, but it's a percentage, right? So it's something. And 1% in Hedron, 1% in Hedron of 30 trillion is 300 billion. So that's a lot. 1% doesn't sound like a lot, maybe some relative terms, but respectfully, that's a lot, 300 billion. And I think we're up close to 500 billion, right? So
Over.
that's okay. So as closer we get to 600 billion, then we're already looking at 2%.
How
So
long do you have? Sorry, can I ask a
ahead.
question?
No, can't.
I'm excited. Guess what? I won an auction. Yay!
Congratulations.
Nice.
Yeah.
I put a bid on one. I got 2 minutes. I'm watching. Oh Lord.
Oh God, it's like I just played back and forth with someone on two actually, and then I was like, if I'm not gonna get it, I'll bid you up a little bit, and then I let him have it. But the other one, I was like, oh my God, no way, this is so cheap. I got a really good deal, so I was excited, but and I was literally gonna give up for the night for a little bit. But I didn't realize that I had to go and claim it. How long do we have?
You can claim it immediately.
Can you wait like an hour?
Yeah, I mean, you can exit the auction whenever you want after you've won. But I mean, it's probably suggested that you just do it whenever the gas fees suggest that it's best, I guess, right?
Okay, cool. Yeah, it was really cheap, like the gas fees all the way around.
Yeah, so I mean, if you hit end or exit auction on that winning bid, or maybe somebody already paid it and put it into if you go look at your Hedron tab, it'll be sitting there already as an HSI there if you haven't ended it yourself.
Yeah, that would have been nice for them to pay it, so maybe I'll do that next time. I paid for it.
Pay it forward. But yeah, I think it's only like $1 or something to exit the auction anyway. I don't see why you'd wait.
Yeah, it's so cheap. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe somebody was not looking. So and it had a 10x on it. So I was like super stoked.
Nice. Good deal. Well, I gotta head out, so I'm gonna be gone for a couple hours. I'm sure you guys are still gonna be busy, so I'm not worried about it. I will be back.
Take care.
Later, executioner.
Approximately like an hour ago, somebody minted like 200 billion poly.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I think their total treasury amount was up like 1.7 trillion or 1.65 trillion, something like that.
Wow. I hope they win all those big ones. Well, I mean, in the relative sense of the ones that I wouldn't want, I hope they get bid into at least somewhere where they have a big enough treasury so it's advantageous for the Hedron and Icosa community that got involved, right? Because I want everybody to win ultimately anyway, in some sort of way. So eventually they're gonna have to make a choice as to how much Hedron they have and participating after all the big ones are gone, right? They could just start fucking headhunting, right? And at that point in time, if they start doing that, the bigger players can start playing that game too, right? And then now all of them just start to get pushed to some ridiculous level. Like DOSBomb was laughing, right, about the whole how expensive that it was. But in the midst of competition, it becomes a thing. It really, really does. It like, and then the countdown of the timer like brings maybe a few people together to be the adversaries of each other during this period of time, where the competition causes for it to be a personal thing almost. The best case scenario is to put yourself in a bidding position where you're not having those emotional type of behaviors, of course, but nevertheless, it still happens. So, and I think that the poly executor, whoever it is, or maybe multiple people, are probably completely well aware of that it's going to be it's an emotional marketplace too, right? Highs and lows and all sorts of shit. And then people who don't even give a shit, like me, I'm like, I'm gonna be gone for 2 hours, and some of you might speculate what I'm really doing, but I'm literally leaving all of my electronics and going over somewhere else. I'll be doing
Yeah.
It's Sunday night, and I've been ignoring my old lady like the whole weekend, pretty much in preparation for all this. And I've pretty much got to my wit's end where I know that I have to pay attention, at least for a few hours, right?
So go so you can get back.
I know. I'm just tidying things up real quick. Anyway, later, guys.
We'll be sitting right here when you come back.
Yeah, I want to report, like, if I am gone for like 2 hours, maybe 3, how much Hedron has been burned. That's gonna be fun. And then
Let me find the number right now.
Okay, because
and then we'll compare.
When you have a puppy and you watch it grow, and like 2 months go by, and it went from being a puppy to like a mid-sized dog, and everyone else is like, "Oh my god, it's gotten so big!" Like your kids and shit. But to you, it wasn't relevant because you saw it every day. I think in 3 hours, I'm gonna have the "holy shit, your dog has gotten huge" moment. Is what I'm hoping. Hit me with it, Kismet. Give me the numbers. Christy's made me impatient, and I know I have to go. Just kidding.
Can I get a quick number crunch?
Yeah.
I'm showing at least 662, but I don't know if the total max supply on Etherscan reflects the stakes that are lost and not yet claimed.
Ooh, yeah, because didn't Alex say that it doesn't actually do the burn until they exit the auction?
If that's the case, it's well over 700 into 800 probably.
30 seconds will I get outbid? Come on, big money.
Don't be telling people that. Like, people are gonna see it in a sea full of lost. They're gonna know which one it is.
No, there's a bunch that are in the exact same timer. Ain't nobody know nothing.
I know. I just wanted to make you paranoid before I left.
Good luck with that. God damn it! Somebody outbid me, son of a.
Are we all in? So is that a number that we can go with? Is 800 billion already?
That's from the number that I had before I saw burns coming in. Or 650 billion according to my numbers.
Okay, I'll go with that. All right, later. Oh, and I'm not leaving either. I'm sitting here inside the chat, so you guys won't have any idea when I'm back or whatever. So, sucks. Later.
We have
Peace.
some breaking news. Several million hex stakes have been EES, so the penalty is 20.7 million, and the payout is 7.146 at the moment. I don't know if it's a hack or what, but Huge Dolphin is shit the bed, I guess.
Damn, let me check. Okay, so 24 separate hex stakes with 1 million each were nuked.
Separate stakes, meaning different addresses each?
This is fucking Squid Games for real. This is awesome.
I've been outbidding someone for 35 minutes on a 5-minute timer. It's pissing me the fuck off.
You fucker, that's me, you bastard. Stop it.
Hey, that was me as well.
Does anybody know? Have we been through like about 100?
Let me have one.
Anybody
Sorry.
know how many approximately have closed at this point?
Hey guys, can I ask a quick question, if possible?
Yeah, bro, go for it.
I just won my first HSI auction. It's confirmed it's in green. It says one. It's not showing up in my HSI buyback. Do I have to press exit auction? I've noticed that.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I haven't won one yet, so. But I believe so.
Yeah, I didn't want to press exit auction if it put it back up for grabs or something like that. But yeah, it's not showing up in. I want to recycle it, so it's not showing up.
I'm pretty sure you have. There's a final function you need to run for the auction to be concluded and sent to your wallet.
Yeah, if you click on actions next to the loss, and in theory anybody can end it, but then there'll be no point for them to do it because they'd be losing the gas.
Yes, I have finally won my first one. Oot.
Congratulations.
Can you put it back in? Can you put it back in the recycle, please? Thanks.
Bitcoin's almost back under 16 again. Almost there.
So has anybody tried it on mobile yet? I'm curious. I decided to hook up my computer and get it all fucking set up, just in case it didn't work, on mobile as well. But I'm just curious because I am kind of a mobile user a lot of the time, so I'm just curious if anybody's used theirs. I'll take that as a resounding no. Fuck no.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Quick question. If I press start auction, I get a building transaction and starts to count, and I'm not able to start the bid. Do I need to wait to do it fully?
Yeah,
adds
it'll
up
take
the
about a
number?
minute, depending on your internet speed.
Wow. Okay.
But the guy who mentioned the mobile user, are you using a hardware wallet?
I'm not a big fan of hardware wallets.
So did we get some reports on those auctions that went over market? Were those accidental bids, or what was the deal on those?
I would like to hope so.
So is it super hard for me to figure out how much I probably overpaid on? I thought it was a 10x and it wasn't. So I got 14 shares for 1.4 billion. Is that hard to figure out?
I just
So
go
I
off
was
like the minimum
explaining
value of
earlier.
Hex.
I was explaining earlier. If you take your the amount of Hedron that you paid, and then you divide it by the hex. If it's above 11,000, you could consider it above value. If it's below 11,000, you could consider it a below value, and that's roughly just based on our current market conditions. That will change. It's not static. But one hex is equal to about 11,000 Hedron. You understand what I'm saying?
So I take the 1.4 billion Hedron that I paid and divide that by
the amount of staked hex that was on there.
Okay, 112,000.
Hold on, just read off approximate numbers to me. I'll do it for you. So how much Hedron was it?
1,400,000, and it looks like the staked hex is 112,000.
So you're a little bit over valuation. It's maybe 8-9%. You're not doing that. That's not bad on there.
The problem is I wanted to be able to get spend for I like having the multipliers. I'm a big Hedron guy, of course. So, but it's really a pretty big hit to try to like liquidate it for Icosa at this point, right? If I wanted to try to get my money back, just so I could look for bonus multipliers and just sell it back to the Icosa contract, it just feels like I take too much of a haircut, I think.
Yeah, if you go to the calculator document, it'll give you the math on that. My guess is with the Icosa down to 107 to 3.1 cent hex, you're probably better off buying in the open market than HSI buybacking. I think you're going to be, your instinct is right on that.
Yeah. Well, I guess I just got myself a big bag of hex at a good price.